This is Chapter 1, Learning Objective 4. And we're talking about the personnel records. There is usually a reference inquiry conducted before you employ anybody. And when the employee applicants submit their application, usually they'll give some references. And the references that they give from work-related people generally carry more weight than personal. So if you're applying for a job and you give your best friend as a reference, that's not going to count for as much as if you gave your employer as a reference. And because there's been so much litigation in this area, like people giving references and then the reference that they get is unfavorable, and so they sue the former employer, and it's often a big mess. If somebody asks you for a referral, if you're the employer or the former employer, and you have somebody calling to ask you for a reference for one of your former employees, you should really only verify the facts, like, yes, they worked for me from this time to this time, this was what they did, etc., and not give any subjective information, like they weren't very good, or they had an affair while on the job, or whatever, because you open yourself up for litigation. And because of all the litigation in this area, these references mean less and less. And the prospective employer might require an applicant to sign an employment reference release, which basically gives them permission to ask for a reference. Again, all of this paperwork and complication comes up because there's so much litigation that everybody's trying to protect themselves from getting sued. If you're looking for an investigative consumer report, you have to tell the employee or the prospective employee that that's what you're going to do. A hiring notice basically tells the payroll department, hey, we hired a new employee, and it's going to give them all the information that they need to put this employee on the payroll. The employee history record basically just contains all the performance evaluations for employees, anything related to their compensation, I'll share with you at the college, every one of us has a folder on us, and we have an annual performance evaluation, and it goes in that folder. Every time every year when we come back to school, we have to sign a new letter of agreement saying that we're okay with whatever they're paying us, and then they tell what they're paying us. If there's any disciplinary issues, any performance appraisals that we have, anything basically relating to, like me, is in my employee history record. This whole area of of personnel records is really a critical area because there is so much employment-related litigation, and it's really expensive, and oftentimes it's avoidable. I have a client who's an attorney for employment issues like this, and a lot of her clients are those clients that have felt like in some way the correct procedures were not followed and they were treated unjustly, whether it's they were discriminated against, or they were passed over for a promotion, or terminated for not a good reason. And so the more a company can document what it does, and that it's sticking to its policies, it just saves a ton of money.